Good afternoon, everybody. John Prusak here from Snow Goer magazine with an extra special edition of Snow Goer Live, coming to you live from my daughter's former bedroom here in the suburbs of Minneapolis. It is summer. We've had plenty of days in the 90s and heat indexes that are unbelievable. And right now, cloudy and rain. But we're going to talk snowmobiles, don't worry, because this weekend is the Grantsburg Watercross World Championship. It is the 48th, and it is literally one of my very favorite events of the year. It is something that I've looked forward to since I attended my first one in the mid 90s. The racing is, as I said in the little post I did yesterday, it's fast, it's furious, it's wild, it's wacky. You know, a lot of people think of this as, well, I think people who haven't been to it might think of it as a little bit of a kind of a spectacle, kind of a clown show, if you will. It's not a clown show. It is very active racing with great action going on, and anybody who would see this live would really enjoy the heck out of it if you like any sort of motorsports. So again, we're Snow Goer Live. During the season, you'll see us on Thursday nights, and the season for us is basically late October through March. Most Thursday nights, you can find us on YouTube and on Facebook, where we talk about anything related to snowmobiling. We'll talk racing, we'll talk trail riding, history, you name it. We're sled heads like everybody else who watches this show, so we just love talking sleds. During the relative off season, this time of year, we'll throw one in here and there just to kind of have fun with it and keep the channel going, and that's what we're doing today. And when I saw Grantsburg on the schedule, I'm like, I know some great guests to have on, and it is something I can speak passionately about. So I quick set it up yesterday, and appreciate our guests joining us. Snow Goer Live is brought to you by Arctiva, maker of a complete line of snowmobile gear, bibs, boots, gloves, you name it, they've got it. We're also brought to you by Z1R, that makes a bunch of snowmobile helmets. They also make motorcycle helmets and other gear for the motorcycle industry. We're sponsored by Gates, and Gates Belts. They make some great power sports belts. That their G-Force belts are great for snowmobiles, but you can also get them for your other power sports equipment. And this week, we're also sponsored by the Big East Power Sports Show, which is in Syracuse, New York, October 3rd and 4th. I haven't missed one of those in 30 years. I'm not going to miss this year. It's something I really look forward to, getting out east and speaking to all the consumers out there. So love it if anybody could join us out there. So again, normally we kick this off with kind of a news update on what's going on in the snowmobile market. It's, it is the off season. Everybody knows the Arctic Cat news by now. Sleds are starting to be delivered by some brands. You're starting to see it with the big semis hauling some stuff around. One Skidoo dealer in particular, Smith Marine out in upstate New York, posted a picture this week of a couple semis bringing in sleds, and that always puts a smile on my face, even though I know we're about 20 Fridays away from being able to ride them. But that's the sickness we all carry. The racing action is getting going on the asphalt. Grass drag races are probably about 4 weeks away. But ultimately, July is watercross time, and it is, as I said, great action. And to help me set the stage, I want to bring in my first guest, the 12-time world champion from Grantsburg, who also really he and his family helped establish a sport. This is Mark Mackey. Let me see if I can make him the same size as me. There's Mark Mackey. How are you tonight, Mark?
I'm doing great. How about yourself, John?
Yeah, pretty good. I say tonight because I'm used to doing these at night. Here we are at middle of the afternoon. So let's just bring it way back to the beginning. So watercross kind of evolved in the 1970s into this thing, and Grantsburg became the world championship. Let's talk about your part of that. How did Grantsburg get rolling?
Well, water skiing kind of started 30 miles north of Grantsburg by Webster, Wisconsin on Yellow Lake. It was an open channel that people were just doing it all winter long. And then in 75, the Siren, Wisconsin Lions Club had a water skiing contest in February, and they started drawing thousands of people at it because it was on national TV, all kinds of things. And my mom won go back. We were a Skidoo dealer. My parents were a Skidoo dealer from the 60s until 83. And we had race sleds from 69 to 72. We had a 669 TNT, 776 Blizzard, 797 Blizzard, 650 Blizzard. So I grew up as a little kid watching everybody wrench on those at our shop. And I had the bug back then. But So we were a skidoo dealer. My mom won the Siren water skip, the women's class in 76 and 77. She got interviewed on TV. A skidoo dealer from Chautauqua, Wisconsin called and said they were having a water skip event on Memorial Weekend in Chautauqua, Wisconsin, and asked if we would show up. So my mom and my brother and my uncle and a few other customers, we all went down there, and we went ripping across a gravel parking lot, across the sidewalk, through trees, down to this beach, and you're going about 70 when they hit the water. And the sleds made it across the lake, and on the way home, we all thought, we need to do this in Memory Lake in Grantsburg. So that was Memorial Weekend of 77. And then in July of 77, the first Grantsburg Watercross happened, and it was thrown together kind of quickly. There was, I don't know, maybe 500 or 1,000 people the first year because it was short ordered. And they picked the weekend because there were no local fairs, no anything in the area was happening that weekend. Now there's a million things that happen that weekend, but anyhow, so that's how it started originally. And originally was the Grantsburg Lions had just started up the year before, and my dad and my uncle were in the Lions Club. They went to them and ran the proposal. Hey, let's try this. And they tried it the first year, and it took off pretty good. And
now you and I were discussing the other day that in those early days, it wasn't water skip. It was a matter of how far you could go across the water. But yet in your illustrious career, to the point where you won 12 championships, you saw that sport evolve mightily in terms of all of a sudden you're running heats and and multi-lap races. How does it accelerate so fast to where seemingly the impossible becomes possible?
Yeah, well, in 77, I won it on a 340 Skidoo RV that had a factory super mod kit that put about 65 horse out. And we started, the back bumper was on the back side of the island. So we used the whole island as the runway. So you're going 75, 80 when you hit the water. And that's what you did back then, because up until that point, it was who could go the furthest. And I made it half a lap. I turned and was headed north on the pond at Grantsburg, and I sank in front of the dam, and that was the winning run for the day. And then the next year we had 6,500 blizzards, the 340 liquid. They had a wider track, and my brother won a lap and a half. And then it kept, every year we went more laps, and in 81 my brother won it by going 13 laps. And it got to be a bunch of people could run a bunch of laps. So in 82 we swapped to timed figure eights. So you do 3 figure eights against the clock, and fastest person won. And then it went that way until 86 is when we swapped to the format we currently have. So from 86 to this weekend, it's been pretty much the same format. Line up on the shore. And we realized after a while you didn't need the 700-foot takeoff. Now we only have a 20-foot takeoff to the water.
For people who've never been there, where it really gets exciting, well, it's exciting the whole way through. But when you've got 4 or 6 sleds like in the final on the water at the same time, where you're all kicking up waves, and it's all the track is changing every lap just based on the wave pattern and stuff like that. That had to be a big change from when you guys were out there one at a time running your time trials or your figure eights to where all of a sudden you're dealing with the factors that the other sleds are kicking up.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I had been doing real well against the clock, so I wasn't necessarily the biggest fan that now we're going to race head to head, because the skill levels varied considerably, and I was more worried about getting taken out by someone than actually trying to pass them. But it worked out after a while. Everybody got the hang of it. Took some time, but it's a lot better show for the spectators, and all the race sites liked it a lot better. And that's kind of when the sport grew. Then, a few years later, Snow Week showed up, and where they were covering it in the 80s. But then the first year you put us on the cover of Snow Week was in 91, and that the attendance at all the races took off once we were getting on Snow Week cover and the national exposure. That, I mean, the mid 90s was when the whole snowmobile industry was at its peak. We were, 20,000 people at Grantsburg around the shore, and it was pretty fun.
Yeah, it was. My first years of attending, I could not believe the crowds. Well, even right back then, I covered Wild Rose a couple times, and one event you were at in Illinois, I believe it was, and just the well, first of all, it seems like a lot of watercross events, aside from being a race on the water, which seems impossible, they also seem like they wrap in a lot of like town festival kind of atmosphere. And I know Grantsburg does that before for sure, with street dances and fireworks over the years and arm wrestling contests and Lord knows what. They come up with something new and exciting every year. But it's just such a festive time all the time. And I think the snowmobiles racing across the water helps set that kind of, hey, this is supposed to be fun sort of atmosphere, don't you?
Yeah, they've added all those other things mainly for the local people that aren't
Yeah.
necessarily a fan of the event. They tried. That's why they brought the fireworks in and the street dances, and I mean, because that's all free admission to that stuff, and it was mainly to keep the town interested, and that's why it's made it 48 years. Is because the groups that put it on, all the workers are volunteers for some kind of non-profitable organization, and they all get paid like $8 an hour to work that goes towards their group that they're representing. So we get lots of volunteers. That's why it's made it, because the whole community comes out good from it, because they take in a bunch of money for the weekend, and everybody in town prospers from it.
Absolutely. We can't get into the full science of this, but just I had a flashback to one of the first years I went, and I was telling somebody about it, and somebody else joined the conversation and said, well, I'm sure those snowmobiles have something under the running board that makes them float. And it's like, no, there's nothing that makes them float other than momentum. So what is the science of keeping that sled afloat, going lap after lap after lap, and kind of fighting the wave? What has to happen to keep that sled above the water?
The main thing, you got to have good back shifting under clutching. I mean, like
Okay.
back when I started out, the clutches were on the skidoos were not very good back then, and I learned a lot about clutching in the early days, and that's a big part of why I did better than a lot of the people, because we all were running 6,500 blizzards in the early days. And a thing I mentioned yesterday, that the tracks, we were a skidoo dealer, fortunately, and the skidoo tracks worked way better than everybody else's. If you had a cleated track, the big openings in the windows I didn't realize what it was in the early days. It was kind of dumb luck. We didn't know what we were doing. We were experimenting and trying all kinds of different things, and we didn't know why some of them worked until later when I did a bunch of track testing and realized, wow, we just got lucky that we were a skidoo dealer and not a Polaris dealer, because the Polaris with cleated tracks didn't work at all in the beginning.
Okay.
But then we had
It is.
a guy from Grantsburg had one of those old triple cylinder 500 TX 74, blew the cleated track off, put a rubber one on, and that thing went really good on the water. So that was a good indication that was important.
When does I see our friends from the IWA race circuit are commenting on our feed here, so might as well give them a plug. When does the sport get to the point where it's a couple of disparate races here and there to where now it's an organized circuit that the people chase championships and stuff? Where does the IWA really come from?
Well, that was the brainchild of Dan Hill from Michigan. We met in 1987 at Grantsburg. We had a meeting Saturday night. I unfortunately accepted the position of president. I did not seek it, but a bunch of people wanted me to do it. And because up until then, we were people just making phone calls to make the circuits happen, because we had the circuit going from 79 until 87 without a
Okay.
circuit. So we were
Okay.
going to, I mean, at the beginning, there were no rules. If you had a snowmobile, you aimed it at the water. But then as we started having lots of races, we had to make rules and to make it a better show. And we were always trying to make it a big event like Eagle River was, because my parents always drugged me and my brother every year from 1970 to mid 80s. I went to Eagle River every year. And we were trying, we'd go there and my mom just watched what everybody was doing,
Yeah.
every detail, and she was trying to implement it at Grantsburg.
Okay.
She lived watercross 365 days a year back then.
Yeah. Your mom was a great promoter of the event too. Again, she was one of the first people I met related to watercross way back in the day, as far as just promoting what was going on at Grantsburg and stuff. And that was she was such an enthusiast for that. That was a lot of fun. The So again, I'm joined by Mark Mackey, the 12-time world champion of watercross at Grantsburg. We're talking about watercross right now. We've got two current competitors sitting in the back room right now, in David Fischer and Jimmy Marietta. So we'll get to them in just a few minutes here. We'll just get a few more questions in with Mark. We appreciate any of you guys who are joining us in the chat or joining us live, and also people will be able to watch us later on YouTube. So for somebody who would want to get into watercross right now, Mark, what tips would you have from them? What should they learn? How should they approach their riding style in the water? What would be comparable to? Any tips?
The watercross can be a very tough and disappointing proposition if you're not set up right, because
I bet
you find the bottom of the lake a lot, and that can get very depressing quick. So you gotta hook up with somebody that's currently racing, and everybody wants to help each other out, especially new people want to see the sport continue on. And I mean, it's amazing. When we started the IWA in '88, we were just hoping to promote it to keep it going for, as many years as possible. So it blows my mind it's still going strong. The IWA is as big as it's ever been, and got great people leading it. And the Grantsburg Watercross, the same deal. It's people that are making it happen. And so for a new person, you gotta ask questions from people and try and buy a used watercross sled. It's way easier than building something, because there's so many details. And that's the key, is just get something that's already functional.
Yeah, I bet. You even see a watercross sled like at our Big East show that I mentioned earlier. One year we had some of the Eastern riders come there, and just when it's sitting on the floor, it looks so different than a normal snowmobile. The way the back end is pulled up, and the mountain sleds are always popular because of the narrow ski stance. Are there any other things like that for Joe snowmobile consumer that they might find interesting in what goes into a watercross sled?
Yeah, the big thing, because for turning, we lay it on the side, and you want the chassis as narrow as possible so the belly pan and running board aren't dragging. So the way the Polaris RMKs come from the factory now, it's like they built it to work really well in the water. We were doing that for years, chopping the running boards and narrowing up the belly pan, and now the factory does it. So like our stock XPs skidoos that we run, and has a big wide running board and belly pan. In the stock class, you can't modify that. So the mod would handle way better just because of that feature. So Any of the newer mountain sleds, basically, though, you got to change to a shorter lug track, 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches is faster than the big paddle ones are slow them down a lot. So
I suppose, as with everything, it's a delicate balance of traction versus speed. Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd mentioned Snow Week earlier. I dug up. That's going to be backwards. A good Smoke in the Water cover of Mark back in the day. I think this was the 97. So that would have been, what, about your 11th win?
Yep.
There, now I got it right. Okay, there you go. Snow Week, may it rest in peace. Anyway.
Yeah, and it was cool back then. And the podium for that year, Skidoo had their big factory trailer there. Yamaha had factory trailers in there. So it was pretty neat back then, I mean, the whole industry was behind it.
Yeah. And the whole industry was absolutely booming then too. So, that certainly helped too, but, who knows? We might get back there someday. We can hope. Okay. So are you going to Grantsburg this weekend, or will you be watching it from afar, or what's on your schedule?
Well, I've been at the first 47 out of them, so I'm going to be at this one too. No, I enjoy it. It's fun to watch everybody. I mean, the sleds really rip. I mean, everybody's got them working really well. All the classes, even from the sport guys up. I mean, the new equipment works so well. It's a lot less sinking, and it's a really good show.
You hear that, you two in the background? Mark's saying you guys got it easy compared to what people of his generation. Yeah, that's what all of us old guys say. We also walked uphill both ways, right? Okay, well, Mark, we're going to let you go. Hopefully I will see you on Sunday when I'm up there myself, but I really appreciate you taking the time. But we'll jump off here and join our next set of guests.
All right, and I wish both David and Jimmy the best of luck this weekend, because in watercross you got to have the good stuff your way, or it goes bad in a hurry.
Absolutely. Hall of Famer Mark Mackey, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. Thanks.
So again, you're watching Snow Goer Live. We're talking about the Grantsburg World Championship of Watercross Racing this weekend, Grantsburg, Wisconsin. It's really kind of a, with practice and fireworks and street dances, it's a kind of become a Friday, Saturday, Sunday deal. But the finals are on Sunday. Usually, at least in my past experience, the most crowded day is Saturday. Watching all the sleds narrow down through qualifications is great fun. But Sundays, when they're racing for trophies. But any day you can make it up is worth doing. Let's jump to our next set of guests. We have with us first, live from a car, Mr. David Fischer, who's traveling, but luckily he's got a driver. Don't worry. And
we're parked for you, Pruzak.
Oh, well, that's good. Yeah. I saw you kept
good.
dropping off in the background. I'm like, oh boy, is he losing his connection?
We were good.
And then we have Mr. James Marietta, live from the UP of Michigan. What's going on, Jimmy?
Oh, not too much. Just getting done with work.
Let's see if I can stack this. That probably works best. And I'll move the logo. So we're talking watercross. These are the guys that currently make it happen. David is a 6-time champion at and when we talk champions, by the way, when at Snow Week or Snow Goer now, to me, the champion of the event is the winner of the Pro Open class, but there are also champions in other classes, including Pro Stock. So when I'm referring to these champion things, that's just for our audience. That's what I'm talking about here. But and perhaps one of David's very biggest challengers this weekend could be Mr. James Marietta. There are some other very strong racers as well, but Jimmy kind of mopped up earlier this season, so he kind of set himself up as, hey, watch out, David, here I come. Gentlemen, tell me about your relationship. Let's start with you, Jimmy. How long have you known David, and y'all get along pretty good?
Oh, yeah. We've known each other for, it's got to be close to 10 plus years now. Just from even snowmobiling up in the UP when he's up this way. So, yeah, I'd say we have a good relationship. We help each other out. We give each other crap. It's a good time.
Very good.
Oh, yeah.
And David, Mark kind of alluded to something as far as the easiest way to get into watercross is knowing somebody who's in watercross. You guys are both second-generation racers. Heck, Jimmy, you might be a third-generation racer as far as I know. I know your grandfather was involved in various aspects of our sport as well. But David, were you kind of raised to be a watercross racer almost?
Yeah, for the most part, let's be honest, it's kind of all I know as far as my summer activities go. I think I grew up in the trailer ever since I was born. So yeah, we've been at a few watercross races throughout the years.
Yep. So for the person who has never been to an event like Grantsburg, or for that matter, the races in the UP or at BIR or the various things, Jimmy, describe kind of what the action is like when especially in the oval racing, when these things hit the water, kind of the what you encounter when you're out there in terms of the waves, the other competitors, the buoys, what's going on out there?
Yeah, it can get pretty wild, especially like at our last race that we had in Wakefield. It changes location to location, but like our last event, it got really wavy and it was brutal. I mean, we had huge couple foot rollers, so you're fighting the rollers, and then you got David, rubbing your side panel, pushing you over, and you're rubbing buoys, bumping each other. There's people everywhere. The other thing is you're trying to keep track of where everyone else is and when the best time to take that equalizer lap is. And there's so many things going on at one time. It's kind of hard to track, but it's just a blast.
David, Jimmy had mentioned the equalizer buoy. That's something that I was talking to Mark Mackey about the other day, just about how when that entered, so it wasn't just to follow the leader, whoever got the inside line. What is describe a final? How many laps is it, and what's the strategy in this equalizer buoy? And again, for the non-race fan, what is an equalizer buoy?
Yeah, so our finals are 10 laps in the pro class. So we got 6 guys, 10 laps, and we have that equalizer buoy where we have to take at least 1 lap. So we're definitely, the strategy is to get out front and try to run clean water as long as you can. But then obviously, those guys behind you, there's a pretty high chance that they've already taken their equalizer. So you got to make sure you put some ground on them, or else Or else, yeah, they're coming right under you when you're out there driving around those big yellow buoys.
And again, for people who don't know, what an equalizer buoy is basically a buoy that's set further apart from on the rest of the track. So it's a longer lap that you have to go around, which each person has to take it once. So if you time it right, there's a strategy involved in that. One of the other interesting things that is kind of cool about that some people find cool about watercross racing, I'm one of them, is the fact that your rules are pretty loose. You guys can run some big motors in the Pro Open class. This isn't like kind of some people get pretty upset with snowcross when they tightened up the rules a little bit, but you guys can kind of have at it a little bit more. Jimmy, what can you do with a sled?
Oh, there's so many different rules, but so you can run up to a 900 mod in the open class. So you're allowed twin pipes, and then you can run the new stuff, which is fuel injected, like what David and them guys are running, or like we're still running older carbureted engines. So we're running still 800 mods, but yeah, they're pretty loose on the rules there anyway. So that's kind of nice, not like snowcross.
Yeah, it's to me, it's part of the attraction when you hear those twin pipes roaring when you guys are running laps. That's a lot of the fun. David, another thing that Mark mentioned that I wanted to bring up because I found it, way back when I first got to know your dad in the 90s at watercross races. It's incredible the brotherhood in the pit area where it seems like everybody's trying to help each other out. Somebody sinks and needs something, somebody else helps them out. It's kind of a family atmosphere, even though you guys are pretty strong competitors, correct?
Yeah, for sure. And I think that has a difference too. We're racing in the summer. Everybody's trailer doors are open. Everybody's hanging out. It's not quite like the snowcross or any winter sport where everybody's huddled up, hiding out in their trailers. So it seems like it's pretty open because everybody's together, and that's kind of makes it fun and shoot, hey, we get to race snowmobiles all year long. So it's cool.
Absolutely. So the Grantsburg event in particular, again, you guys race at multiple sites. What separates Grantsburg? What makes, other than the name World Championship, does it feel like it's just a different level at that race?
I'd say, yeah, because everybody wants to get the crown. Everybody wants to get a title. I mean, everybody's racing for one goal. I mean, yeah, it's cool to win other races, but that one, yeah, to have your name in that list of guys, because there's not very many people that have their name on that list. So that's definitely one, definitely pretty proud of to be on that. So that's, I think, a goal for everyone to be pushing harder that
Yeah.
weekend.
Jimmy, as a competitor at this event, are you able to take part in any of the sidelights going on Grantsburg weekend, or are you guys pretty serious about early to bed, early to rise, get your machine right?
Most of the time it's pretty early to bed, and the other thing that plays a factor is how the equipment's running. If you're stuck in the trailer at nighttime getting things panned out for the next day. But we love going to the fireworks show. Usually check out the street dance for a little bit, but yeah, other than that, it's pretty early to bed, early to rise.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, our guests are David Fischer and Jimmy Marietta. We're talking about the Grantsburg World Championship that's this weekend, and you're watching Snow Goer Live. We're sponsored by Arctiva, Gates, Z1R, and the Big East Power Sports Show. So we want to thank all of them. So in terms of the again, we're talking Pro Open or Pro Stock, really. There's a process to get to the final that starts with heat races on Saturday and then goes through elimination rounds on Sunday. I don't know which one of you guys wants to describe it, but what is involved in even just getting to the final?
Yeah, so obviously Saturday is all of our qualifying rounds. It's how we're getting seated for Sunday, because Sunday we'll have a quarter, semi, then final. So Saturday, so say Pro Open, for instance, we have 3 qualifying rounds on Saturday, and then hopefully you make it in top 12, get to race Sunday. And if you make that in, you get lined up for your semifinal, and then it comes into a double elimination where top 2 move on. So all the way up to get your 6 guys in the final.
Right. Okay.
So,
with what, 4 in the front row and 2 in back?
there will be, yeah, everybody gets to start in the front row kind of, but there's a delayed start. So
Okay.
2 hit the delay. So
Okay.
5th and 6th are the second light, because nobody wants to get sprayed with sand. So they're kind of staggered in between us all.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. That would not be pleasant getting hosed at the starting line.
Yeah, we've all been there. So yeah, everybody's getting it.
So Jimmy, I've heard watercross racing over the years be compared a lot to like mountain riding in terms of the skills you need in terms of tilting the sled as far as body control and throttle control and everything. Would you say that's a good comparison? And what makes a good watercross racer?
It's pretty comparable. There's a lot of, obviously you can't stop for one, but yeah, no, it's pretty comparable. But the other thing with the way that we're racing, obviously doing the ovals and stuff nowadays, it's a lot of sled setup too. So that plays a really, really big factor into, if your sled's handling good, if you can corner good, stay tight, the clutching's working like Mark Mackey had mentioned. There's a lot of factors that into it other than just the driving portion.
Very good. Would you add anything to that, David? Is there anything as far as just a riding style that seems to work best versus other people?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely can't be afraid of getting wet because you gotta throw that sled over. You're getting spray. You're coming off looking like a lot of. I kind of explain it a lot of times like riding the stand up jet ski. So you kind of it's pretty tippy. It's because you're just riding on that back about 3 feet ish of the track. I mean, at most times. So it's because your skis usually most setup you don't want to have your skis dragging in the water because if they're up and out of the water, a lot more control. But yeah, so they're pretty tippy, like riding a stand-up jet ski or a surfboard. So you're balancing your way through it and a lot of throttle control.
I bet. Yeah, and per Jimmy's thing, you can't just square it up and start over if you get in trouble.
Yeah, I've definitely been there even this year where I kind of wish you could quick start the sled back up, but yeah, you're not getting back out of that.
Yeah, there's no so the again for I'm guessing a lot of people that are watching this, I'm actually kind of hoping that a lot of people that are watching this are somewhat new to watercross, so they don't so we can grow our sport a little bit. The I can describe it, but I'd rather have one of you competitors. So what happens when your sled goes down? So you're going along, engine seizes, whatever. What do you got to do to get your buoy up there and get pulled up off the bottom of the lake and all that? Describe what happens there.
So yep, you go down. If you're still with the sled, if it's not a bad crash, you're making sure your buoy came up so you can find your sled and you don't lose it. Then usually the boat's picking you up out of the water, hauling you back to shore, and on your way back to the trailer. A lot of us have like crankcase drains drilled into the bottom of our motors, so we can flip a couple valves, drains the water out of the motor. Like my sled, I have to lay on the side to dump the pipes out, drain the carburetors, fuel, and then just fire it right back up with some fresh gas, and we're ready to go again. I can have my sled running in like 6 to 7 minutes from time of sinking once I hit shore.
Okay. And again, for the person that hasn't been to these, your buoys are they still like Velcro to where the seat would be? So you pull that. No, okay. Where are they in the sled?
No, so most people now are using like the fishnet buoys. They're like a little round buoy where ropes go through them, and then they're on a perch up in front of the handlebars now. That's a lot smaller, a lot more convenient, a lot neater, and they actually deploy a lot better than the old big throwable pads with the Velcro on the bottom.
Okay. And then in terms of the again, just to describe it, the way you get picked up out of the water, you guys use special pontoons with a front cutout and a winching system, correct?
Yeah, so the pontoons are custom. The floor's cut out. They got a nice winch system with a pulley above you. They come right over the top of you. The boat drivers are actually really phenomenal. Even like the last race, it was windy. The boat driver, you couldn't even tell. I mean, he was positioned right over the top of you, picked you up because I might have sank once that weekend, but it happens. But yeah, no, they're custom pontoons and they do a great job.
And David, to alleviate any fears of anybody about dropping gas and oil in the lake, you guys got to seal these up pretty tight, correct?
Yeah, they're sealed up tight. What's actually pretty wild is we dump water out of our gas. So
really,
for that, so there's water in the gas tank. So that means obviously the gas didn't leave. So
wow,
yeah, we'll drain the gas drain the water until gas comes out. So it's pretty wild.
Good. So David, what's the very best part about being a watercross racer, and how long you going to keep doing this?
The best part for me is get to ride snowmobiles all year long. I live and breathe snowmobiles, as most of us do.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy that. Yeah, I mean, racing, I don't know. We'll see, but I mean, obviously, I still like to do it and like just definitely have fun playing on the water.
Yeah. Same question to you, Jimmy. What keeps you doing it? And how long are you going to keep doing it?
So I've been doing it, obviously because it's a passion. Racing snowmobiles year round is downright awesome. But my path is probably changing here soon. I got a 4-year-old boy at home that's amped up to start racing moto. So pretty soon
Oh,
here I'm gonna start chasing him around and probably switching scenes till he's old enough to come back to watercross.
yep. Yep. Beautiful. You guys have both raced other facets of snowmobile racing, correct?
Yep. Yeah, I raced. So I currently still race hill climb. We dabble in a little bit of ice oval, and then I ran the ISOC snowcross series for 4 years. That was a number of years ago, but yeah.
Okay. And you fish?
Yeah, do a little bit of everything. Play around with a little bit of some snow drag racing, and do some hill climb stuff. A little bit of had ran a couple cross country events, but yeah, for the most part, just a lot of miles.
And of course, you both have done some ditch bangers. I know that, correct?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's funny the craze that's become. That's great for especially a guy my age. With those are the sleds, kind of my prime. So I love that.
Can't walk for a week after that.
I
Yeah.
bet.
Walk
It's
down the
amazing.
stairs backwards.
Yeah.
It's amazing how low we used to sit on all those sleds. So any predictions from either one of you guys from this weekend? Anyone want to be bold?
No, it's
Nothing
really
too crazy.
anyone's game. It's crazy. It's anyone's game. It changes weekend to weekend. The competition is downright crazy through the whole pro class. To be honest with you, you can't count anyone out anymore, and I'm looking forward to it.
And
Yeah,
any pro
like
tips for
Jimmy said.
the? Go ahead.
Yeah, just like Jimmy said. I mean, it's everybody's right there. It's pretty cool. It's fun to watch. You know, you're coming through the corner when you can go into a final and there's literally 6 guys coming into turn 1. It's pretty sweet. And yeah, you never know
Yeah.
what's going to happen.
And then any pro tips for any fans? I know you know from past experience, a lot of people bring their own lawn chairs. You get this big wide area where you can be any particular good place to sit or things to do or a certain food item to get at any of the vendors or anything like that.
The only thing that I guess I have to say is, yes, lawn chairs are always nice, a little area to sit, but definitely got to check out that autograph session area at Grantsburg where all the drivers come over and you get some free merch and signatures from everyone, and you get to interact with the drivers. That's probably one of the highlights for sure.
Very good. And when is that?
We do it multiple times a day throughout the day.
Okay.
You'll see sleds coming across and landing. All the kids come running, and it's a good time.
Yep, absolutely. All right, perfect. Well, we're wishing both you guys luck this weekend. I hope to be there on Sunday with my camera around my neck, so to try not to get me wet by coming too close to shore. But you guys both represent your sport very well, and keep up the great work, guys.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Przak.
Say it. So we will let these guys go, and we'll wrap it up. Again, you've been watching Snow Goer Live. We are during the season, we're weekly on Thursday nights, but during the off season here, if we see something fun we want to talk about, well, we're going to grab hold of that too. And there are few things that are more fun in this sport than a good watercross race, and there's none better than Grantsburg. So again, hopefully we see some of you guys up there. If not, check out our website, check out, social media. There's always tons of people or tons of posts on there. I know the folks at both Grantsburg and the IWA are very active on social media, so they're always posting updates on what's happening in heat races and stuff like that. We want to thank again our sponsors, Arctiva, maker of a complete line of snowmobile gear, Z1R, a maker of complete line of helmets for snowmobilers and helmets and other gear for motorcyclists, Gates with their G-Force belts for all power sports products that use drive belts, and then our Big East Power Sports show in Syracuse, New York. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll turn you loose for the rest of the day. Good night.